Hello guys, greetings from Placement Scheme. I'm Pradyumna, one of the co-founders of Placement Scheme. Now I'll be starting with the TCS NQT previous years, which was which was conducted exactly on 25th October 2020 and it's slot 1. Okay, these questions are memory based. Let's start with the first question. The list price of an article is fixed at 30% above the cost price, and while selling the same, it is subject to a discount of X%. The profit percentage is 80% of that when the list price is fixed at 20% above the cost price and the discount is 16%. What is the value of X? Okay, there are two cases here. This is the first case. When the list price or mark price both are same. Yeah, I'm just taking cost price, mark price. Yeah. It's told that list price of an article is fixed at 30% above the cost price. Let's say the cost price is 100x, then what is the mark price? It is 130x. And while selling the same, it is subject to a discount of x%. Okay, we know that discount is given on mark price, therefore there is a discount of x% on it to get the selling price of the article. Okay, and it's told that the profit percentage is 80% of that. This profit percentage here is equal to 80% of profit percentage, some profit percentage. When is it? When the tag price is fixed at 25% above the cost price and the discount is 16%. Yeah, so this is the case 2. We have a cost price and again we have a mark price. Okay, now what is told in this case, the mark price is fixed 25% above the cost price. So let's say the cost price is 100x, it's always the same. Yeah, and now the mark price will be 125x and the discount is 16%. Okay, now we have it here, discount is 16%. So how do we calculate the discount then? Discount is always calculated on mark price. So 16 by 100 into 125x gives us the discount. So 25 fours, 25 fives, 4 ones, 4 fours. So you get the discount as 20x. The discount is 20x. Therefore, what should have been the selling price? It is 125x minus 20x, that is 105x. Yeah. Therefore, now what is the profit percentage in this case? The profit percentage, the cost price is 100, selling price is 105x, therefore clearly the profit percentage is 5%. Yeah. Now what is told? The profit percentage in the first case is 80% of the profit percentage in the second case. That's what is told. If you observe carefully, the profit percentage is 80% of the profit percentage in this case. So therefore, what is the profit percentage in this case? 80% is 4/5. Yeah, 4/5 of the profit percentage in the second case is 5. So we get the profit percentage as 4%. Therefore, if 100x is the cost price, what should be the selling price? 4% above 100x. So therefore, the selling price is 104x. Now finally, one step is remaining. What is that? We are supposed to compute the discount percentage. Mark price is 130, selling price is 104. So how do you compute the discount percentage? Discount by mark price into 100. So what is the discount in absolute terms? 130x minus 24x, 104x. You get 26x. Discount divided by marked price, which is 130x into 100. So this gives us the discount percentage, which is x percentage. X cancel, 0 0 cancel, 13 ones, 13 twos. So you get the discount percentage as 20%. That is how we solve this question. Is it clear? This is the first case, this is the second case. Here we have computed the profit percentage, and in this case the profit percentage is 80% of this, that is 4%. So from here we have got the selling price. You know the selling price, you know the mark price, you can compute the discount percentage, which is 20. Let's move on to the next question. The ratio of average speeds of two sprinters A and B is 8:7. So the speeds of A and B, the speeds of A and B is what? It is 8:7. Okay, so in absolute terms, so let's assume the ratio constant to dx. So the speed of A is 8x and the speed of B is how much? It is 7x. Yeah. Now in a racing track, if B starts at a distance 2 meters ahead of A, what does that mean? If A is starting at this position, where should B start? B should start at a position which is 2 meters ahead of A. Yeah, this is where B starts. Now what are we supposed to find? At what distance from B at what distance from B would A catch up with B? So we are supposed to find this distance. Yeah, fine. This is a concept of relative speed. We know that time taken to meet is equal to the initial distance divided by the relative speed. In this case, what is the initial distance between A and B? It is 2 meters divided by what is the relative speed between them. Since they are traveling in the same direction, the relative speed will be the subtraction of the speeds, which is x. Therefore, the time taken for them to meet is 2 by x. We are supposed to find the distance from B. Therefore, let's calculate the distance covered by B. Yeah, this is the distance covered by B. D is the distance covered by B. So distance is equal to speed. Speed of B is how much? It is 7x into time taken by B is 2 by x, which gives us the distance which is covered by B. Therefore, we get this as 14 meters. This is one way of solving, where we first calculate the time of meet, which is initial distance by relative speed. You get the time, you know the time and you know the speed of B, so that you get the distance traveled by B, which is 14 meters. Or you can always go ahead with the conventional method. We know that the time taken by A is equal to time taken by B, right? By the time A travels from here to here, in the same time B travels from here to here. We know time is distance by speed. So what is the distance covered by A in all? 2 plus D. So 2 plus D divided by the speed of A. Speed of A is 8x is equal to time taken by B, which is the distance covered by B, is D by the speed of B. Speed of B is 7x. Yeah, just solving for D, you get the answer. So what do we get? 7D plus 14 is equal to 8D, which implies D is equal to 14 meters. You get the same answer either in this method or in this method. You can follow the method that you're comfortable with. A sum invested in compound interest at a certain rate for 3 years earns the same interest. So let me do it here. So a sum P interested at compound, invested in compound interest, it is CI, at a certain rate of interest for 3 years. So you've got all the parameters. Okay. Now this earns the same interest as it would earn by investing the same principal under simple interest at the rate of 18.2% for 4 years. Yeah. Now for simplification, I'll assume the value of principal to be 100x so that we don't get the fractions part. Okay. Okay. Now let's compute this. Now what is the simple interest earned on principal at rate of interest so much for 4 years? You know, simple interest is equal to P into T into R by 100. So what is the principal? It is 100x that we have assumed, into time is 4 years, into rate of interest is 8.2 by 100. Yeah, rate of interest by 100. Now what do we get here? 0, 0, 0, 0 cancel. So you get the simple interest earned as 18.2 into 4, which is 18,472.8. So we have got the simple interest earned to be 72.8x. We know that the simple interest, the interest earned in the second case is equal to the interest earned in the first case. Therefore, we've also got the compound interest value, which is 72.8x. Okay. What is the formula that we know in compound interest? Amount is equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 whole power n. Yeah. Okay. N is 3 here. Anyways, I'm first writing the formula. So what is the amount? It is principal plus interest. 100x plus 72.8x. You get 172.8x is equal to principal is 100x into 1 plus R%. See, we are not sure of the interest, rate of interest in the first case. That is what we are supposed to find. So what do we get? We get 172.8x divided by 100x is equal to 1 plus R% whole cube. So you get x cancel. So effectively you get 1728x, 1728 divided by 1000. Okay, which is 1 plus R% whole cube. So what is 1 plus R%? It becomes whole power 1 by 3. Okay, whole cube becomes whole power 1 by 3. So what is 1728 whole power 1 by 3? You know, it is 12, because 12 cube is 1728 and then 10 cube is 10,000. Therefore you get a 10, which is equal to 1 plus R%. So what do we get? If you simplify this, you get R as 20%. Therefore, in the first case, the principal is lent at 20% compound interest, whereas in the second case it is lent at 18.2 rate of interest. This is how we solve this question. With symbols having their usual meanings, the mean of the data given below is 39.2. This is x and this is the frequency. Okay, now we are not sure of this value. Let me take a value as, let's say, a, this value. Okay, we are supposed to find the mean. What is mean? We know mean is equal to sigma of the observation into the frequency divided by sigma of the frequency. Okay, mean is sigma. You'll first have to multiply. Yeah, let me solve it for you. You may understand it better. This is the formula. So what do? We do it as 36 into 10. 36 into 10 plus 40 into 13 plus 35 into 12 plus 44 into a divided by, now we have computed the numerator part, sigma x into f, divided by sigma f, that is summation of the frequency. What do we get? 10 plus 13 plus 12 plus a. Okay, this is how we compute mean, which is equivalent of 39.2, that is already given. Okay, now let's compute. You get a 360 here, 420 here. Okay, let me also write that. 360 plus 13 fourths, it is 520, right? I'm sorry, 360 plus 520 plus 35 into 12, 350 plus 70, which is 420 plus 44a divided by, you get 23 plus 12, 35 plus a, 35 plus a, which is given as 39.2. Okay, now what do we get? 360 plus 520 plus 420. So we know 520 plus 420 is 940. 940 plus 60 is 1000. You get a 1300. So you get a 1300 plus 44a is equal to 39.2 into 35. What is 39.2 into 35? 39.2 into 35 is equivalent of, okay, let me do it. 5 2 is 10, 5 9 is 45, 46, 5 3 is 15 plus 4 19, 3 2 6, 3 9 is 27, 3 3 is 9, 9 plus 2 11. You get a 0, 12, you get a 17, 3, 1372. So you get the value of 1 as 1372. You can always use the on-screen calculator to compute this, yeah. Plus 39.2 into a. It's just simplification, okay. So we have a 1370, we have a 1300. So it is 72 is equal to 44 minus 39.2, which is 4.88. Therefore, what is the value of a that you get? A is equal to 72 divided by 4.8. So 24, 372, 24, 2 is 4.8. Yeah, 0.2 is 4.8. So effectively you get 30 by 2, which is 15. Okay. So the value of a, the missing observation, is 15. Okay guys, I forgot to mention this. See, in all the questions till now that we have solved, we see that we are not getting any answer which is equivalent of an answer option. Yeah, the answer that we have got is not found in the answer options. That is how the options were in the exact TCS NQT. Okay, so if that is the case, you can choose any option and you will be awarded the marks. Is it clear, guys? If you get an answer option which is not there in any of the options, you can mark any option and you'll be awarded the marks. That's what was told. Yeah. What is the fourth proportional of mean proportionals between? Yeah, first, what is mean proportional? It is square root of AB. Okay, mean proportion of A and B is square root of AB. So let's first find the mean proportional of 4 and 6.25. It is square root of 4 into 6.25. So which is square root of 4 is 2, square root of 6.25 is 2.5. So this is 5. Then what is the mean proportion of this value? Square root of, I'll write it in terms of the 27 by 1 followed by 4 zeros, yeah, because we have 0 0 0 0 into 300. That's what we have. So 0 0 0 0 cancel. Sorry, you have one more 0, right? 1 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, yeah, into 300. So what do we get? 0 0 0 0 cancel. You get it as square root of 81 by 100, which is 9 by, okay, let me write that also for you. Square root of 81 by 100, which is 9 by 10. Similarly, for the third case, what is it? It is square root of 1.2 into 10 power minus 3 into 3. As I told earlier, what I'm doing is I'm just doing square root of a into b for finding the mean proportion of this, this and this. Here a was 1.2 into 10 power minus 3 and b was 3. Therefore I wrote 1.2 by 10 power 3 into 3. So what is it that you get? So you get 12 by 10 power 4 into 3. I'm multiplying and dividing by 10. Yeah, you get 36 by 10 power 4, which is 6 by 10 square, which is 6 by 100. Okay, now we have got the mean proportions of this, this and this. We are supposed to find the fourth proportional. What is fourth proportional? See, when we have three terms A, B and C, fourth proportional is a value x such that A by B ratio will be equal to C by x. I hope this is clear. When we have three terms and we are supposed to find the fourth proportional x, it is a value x such that A by B is equal to C by x. So here let's compute the same thing. We have values. This is the first value 5 and this is the second value and this is the third value. So therefore mean proportional is x such that 5 divided by 9 by 10 will be equal to 6 by 100 divided by x, where x is the fourth proportion of these values. I hope this concept is clear. Let's simplify this. So what do we get? This 10 comes to a numerator. So 50 by 9 is equal to 6 by 100 x. So what is x value that we get? X is equal to 6 into 954 divided by 5000. So if you compute this, you get the value of x. Again, as I told earlier, you don't get an answer which is in any of the options. So you can take the liberty to mark any option here and you will be awarded the marks. Okay, what is the mean deviation from the median for the data given below? Mean deviation from the median. Yeah, so what is the median first? First, let's compute the median. We have 4 observations. So first, let's arrange this in ascending order. So what do we get? We get a 28 and then 34 and then 46 and then 48. Therefore, what is the median? Median is the average of the middle terms, which is 34 plus 46 by 2 and we get what? We get a 40. Yeah, because it's 80 by 2, which is 40. So we have got median as 40. Now to find the mean deviation from median, first let's take the deviations from median. So 34 and 40. So the deviation is 6 plus 46 and 40. The absolute deviation is 6. See, we are not, please don't take the signs. Okay, take the absolute differences, that's it. Okay, there is a 34, there is a 40. So what is the difference? It is 6. There is a 46, there is a 40. So the difference is 6 plus 28 and 40. The difference is 12 plus 48 and 40. The difference is 8 divided by, since it's a mean deviation, we have just found out the deviations, just divided by the number of observations. So this is what we are effectively supposed to find. 12 plus 8 is 20, 20 plus 6 is 26, 26 plus 6 is 32. 32 by 4, you get the answer as 8. Mean deviation from median. First find the medians, then find the deviations from the medians of the individual observations. Don't consider the signs. Since it's mean deviation, divide by the number of observations. You get the mean deviation from median. Raju lends rupees 3000 to Bharat and a certain sum to Charan at the same time. To Bharat, and then there is a Charan. Okay. Now Raju lends rupees 3000 to Bharat. So the amount lent is 3000 and the time duration is same and the rate of interest is 6%. Okay. And then yeah, the time duration is also given, which is 5 years. Similarly, he lent certain sum to Charan. It's not given. Let's assume to be P. And the rate of interest is, again, it is the same thing, 6%, and then the time duration is 5 years. Okay. Now altogether he receives 1650 as the interest. This is the total interest. Okay. Let's first compute the interest earned for the amount given to Bharat. So he's given the principal is 3000 and then the rate of interest is 6%. and then the time is 5 years. So therefore what is the interest? It is PTR by 100. Yeah, so it is 3000 into 5 into 6 by 100. So what is it? 0 0 cancel, you get 35 is 150, 150 into 6 you get 900. Therefore he has earned an interest of 900 by giving it to Bharat, by lending it to Bharat. You know the total interest is 1650. Therefore what is the interest earned by lending it to Charan? We'll just have to subtract 1650 minus 900. Therefore the interest earned by lending to Charan will be 750. Yeah, so now you know interest. Now now you're just supposed to find the principal. Yeah, we know rate of interest is equal to P into time is the same, 5 years, into rate of interest is also same. Now just computing for P, what do we get here? Okay, so let me take it this way. So P is equal to 750 into 100 divided by 5 into 6, that is 30. So 0 0 cancel, 3 ones 3, 25s. So therefore the principal lent to Charan will be 2500. Is that clear? First we have computed the interest that's earned by lending to Bharat. We know the total interest. From this, if we subtract 900, you get the interest that he earns by lending to Charan. You know the interest, you know principal, rate of interest and time. Then you can compute the principal that is given, that's lent to Charan. The total surface area of a solid hemisphere is 75 times the area of a circle whose diameter is 6 centimeters. What is the radius of the hemisphere? We know that the total surface area of a hemisphere is 3 pi r square. Okay, it's given that the total surface area 3 pi r square is equal to 75 times the area of a circle whose diameter is 6, which is what? Pi into r square. You know the area of a circle is pi r square. So pi into r is 3. Yeah, so we get pi into 3 square. Now just computing for the value of r here. Yeah, you get pi and cancel. So you get 3 into r square. So you get r square is equal to, you can just cancel this out, right? 3 ones 3, 25s. So you get r square is equal to 25 into 9. So you get r is equal to square root of 25 into 9. Square root of 25 is 5, square root of 9 is 3. So you get the value of r as 15, which is the radius of the hemisphere. Let me repeat. We know the total surface area is 75 times the area of a circle. Total surface area is 3 pi r square. Area of a circle is pi into r square, where r is 3. Just simplify this. You just get the value of r as 15. What is the simplified value of 1.782 plus 1 by 1.24 plus whatever? Let me write that. What is 1 point? You know that the computation is always as BODMAS. This is the rule. So brackets should always be evaluated first. Therefore, let's compute these brackets first. 1.782 plus 1 is 2.782, and then you have a divided by 1.24 plus 1 minus 0.343. You get it as 0.657, right? 657, yeah. Divided by 2.1819. This is what we have. Now you can use the on-screen calculator to get the values, okay, because these are kind of difficult to compute. Yes, 2.782 by 1.24 plus 0.657 by 2.19, you get the answer. I think you should get the answer as, I think this you get it around 2.24 or something, and this you get around 0.3 or something. So the value that you get it as 2.54. So the catch here is you'll have to first evaluate the brackets first, then you'll have to evaluate off, which is not there, then we are evaluating division. Therefore we first wrote by 1.24 by 2.19, finally we added these two. Let's move on to the next question. The area of a sector with central angle is 15 degrees. Okay, what is a sector first? A part of a circle is sector. This is a sector. We are told that this central angle is 15 degrees. What is the formula for finding the area of a sector? Area of a sector is theta by 360 into pi r square. This is the formula to find the area of a sector, and this value is given as 231. Okay, now let's calculate the value of r from here. Theta is 15, by 360 into pi is 22 by 7 into r square, which is 231. Now we know 11 2 is 22, 11 2 is 22, 11 1 is 11. Yeah. What else can we get? Do we get anything? 2 1s to 180s. So therefore I'll just take it directly. R square is equal to 21 into 7 into 180 divided by 15. That's what we have. So 15 1s 15, 15 2s 30. So this is what we get. 21 into 7 into 12. Okay. How shall we split this? We can write it as 21 into 7 into 12 is 21 into 84. 84 is 21 into 4. So this is the value of r square. So what is the value of r? It is square root of 21 into 21 is 21. Square root of 4 is 2. Therefore, we have got the value of r as 42. What are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find the circumference of a circle, which is 2 pi r. So 2 into pi is 22 by 7 into r is 42. So we get 7176. So we get 12 into 22. Yeah, 12 into 22. So what is it? 12 into 20 is 240. 240 and 12 into 2 is 24. So you get the value as 264. This is the circumference of a circle. It's a very simple thing. If you just know this formula, you can plug in and get the value of r. From r, you can then compute the circumference of the circle, which is 2 pi r. You get the answer as 264. Okay guys, one thing, we have got, the options in most of the questions in this set. Okay, you got the answers which is not there in any of the options. Okay, so please mark some answer option and that will be evaluated. Okay, I hope this doesn't repeat. Thank you guys. Let's meet in the next lecture on the same set.